Over the years, indie games have seen a huge surge of popularity, and have been able to rival AAA titles in terms of sales and sheer popularity. But before the advent of YouTube Let's Play streamers, you pretty much had to know where to find most of the good stuff, whether that be through forums, word of mouth, or some other miscellaneous methods of finding content you would have otherwise never heard of. And among those games is an incredible hidden gem of horror, called The White Chamber. The White Chamber is a freeware Windows PC game developed by Studio Trophus, a collective of artists, programmers, and localizers led by a group of 3 friends that was released in 2005 and updated periodically until 2008. The game was able to gain coverage by the press as listed on their website, and was generally received well by critics. And well, that's enough of the background information. Let us dive into this extraterrestrial nightmare, shall we? This game starts with an unnamed girl waking up from a coffin, trapped in a room with nothing but a device at the right of it. After connecting some wires, she is able to interact with the device as it asks if you know where you are. Selecting No reveals that she's trapped in a space station, far away from any other ways of contacting other people. After a few more questions, the door opens, and from here you are free to explore. This game is a 2D point-and-click adventure game, which means you'll be looking around collecting items and solving puzzles. Unlike other point-and-click adventure games, the area is relatively small and easy to navigate around, meaning that even when the game requires you to backtrack or if you missed an item from an earlier room, it's not that hard to simply go back to the room you need to re-explore, which is a godsend since it can sometimes be easy to miss important items as they can blend in with the background occasionally. You'll also find video logs from one of the crewmates of the station named Arthur that go into detail the events that transpired in the station prior to your awakening. It doesn't take long before the station starts to play cruel games on you, locking you in rooms at seemingly random, forcing you to experience horrifying events only to wake up in the complete other side of the station than the one you were exploring just seconds ago, objects suddenly appearing in places that weren't there before. It makes it apparent that there is a force in here that is toying with you as you try to find a way out, and this force is not going to make your escape any easier on you. One of my favorite events in this game is the infamous corridor scene. After gaining access to a room that was previously inaccessible due to a fire, and exploring for a bit, you try to leave only to find yourself in a Silent Hill-esque nightmare hall filled with barbed wire and flesh. You leave only to find yourself in a similarly disturbing corridor. And as you make it through, you loop through this corridor several times, with things shifting around and the music ramping up in intensity. At no point is there an enemy that chases you around in this game, but damn does it this part of the game make you feel like you are being chased. It's simple yet effective horror that keeps your mind guessing as to what creatures are lurking to attack you at any moment. In general, the game's atmosphere is very oppressive and spine-chilling. Most of the soundtrack is the station itself making noise, with the only other sounds being the footsteps of your main character. To add to that, there are no NPCs throughout the game, meaning for your entire playthrough, you will be exploring alone in these horrifying corridors, with nothing but the sound of the presumably dead Arthur to keep you company, all the while you wait in anticipation of the horrors that are yet to come. Okay, so from here on out, there will be major spoilers. If you have not played the game, go download it from studiotrophus.com or watch a playthrough on YouTube, whichever one is more convenient for you, because this game is only 2 hours. Seriously. So, I lied to you about not having any NPCs to talk to. There is one in the entire game, and it is none other than Arthur himself. At some point you are able to unlock the ventilation room and crawl your way through, and there you end up in the eponymous White Chamber.
Hello, Sarah. So, here we are again. The situations are now reversed, it seems. As I recall, last time it was me trapped in there, hoping for mercy.
So apparently, your character's name is Sarah Erickson, and she was the one who killed everyone on board so she could have the power of the artifact all to herself. And it is here where Arthur will quote-unquote judge your soul to see if you have redeemed yourself. So something I've neglected to explain is that this game has what is called a karma system. There are certain parts of the game where you can perform certain actions at specific points in the game that will either add or subtract from your invisible karma score. The only way to check how many points you have is to look at the chalk marks on the board of the operation room. And depending on how many you have, it will change what ending you get. The only real hint you get is to perform quote-unquote good actions throughout, which some of the criteria to get certain karma can be kind of confusing, as you're not really sure if it's a good or a bad action. And on top of that, when the events to collect karma points are progression locked, meaning if you missed your chance to get a karma point in an earlier part of the game, there is no way to get it without loading an earlier save or starting over. In my case, I got the redemption ending, the most common ending. After leaving the White Chamber and re-experiencing the deaths of all the crewmates, Sarah makes her way to the escape pod where she takes leave and the ship self-destructs. She lands on what appears to be a beach, cues some fan service, and the game is over. Now there is one big question that the game leaves unanswered, and that is the artifact itself. The artifact is a constant presence throughout the game, being mentioned in video logs, notes, and even Sarah herself. It's never directly stated what the artifact is or what it does. All we know is that this was a device that they were assigned to look into, and something happened that caused the scientists to recognize it as a potential danger. I can only say this from anecdotal evidence, but I've seen people theorize that the artifact traps people's souls and has the ability to shift reality around it. And there is some merit to it, as when Arthur is passing his final judgment, he mentions we, as in multiple people coming to a final decision, and the fact that he is able to communicate in real time and point out his dead body on the ground.
I unleash the power you killed for! And now we're both trapped here in this cursed cycle. An eternal nightmare, continuing endlessly until you've earned salvation.
Whatever the artifact is, it is still this game's most mysterious aspect. Now for some miscellaneous stuff, the definitive version of this game features voice acting from an actor named Kagome, and while she is able to perform her lines pretty well, it is kind of jarring to see her react to the hellish abominations around her with a shocked expression, while still speaking in a monotone voice.
What the hell is going on? I'm in space! Oh my gosh, this is beyond words. I feel sick. What the hell was that?
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
According to TV tropes, the deadly fridge was actually inspired by one of the creator's refrigerators. And while I haven't been able to find any evidence to back this up, it is still a funny idea that someone's fridge smelled so bad they included it as a deadly obstacle that has a chance of killing you. And for my closing thoughts, this is a very solid game that is worth checking out. If you haven't experienced the game yet and you've made it this far into the video, I know I've spoiled a large chunk of it, but this is still definitely worth checking out just for the atmosphere and music alone. If you have a 2-hour worth of spare time, I heavily recommend you check out this hidden gem.